This is an ancient cave in Scotland.
Locations like this are just mind-blowing.
I visited caves a couple of times on my channel, including the cave featured in this video. But one thing I've never spoken about or photographed before is the many mythical creatures and spirits that live in these caves.
You can see a number of either dragons or snakes or some sort of reptilian creatures, almost like coming towards me.
Exploring places like this can bring much enjoyment and exciting discoveries. So if you want to add some imagination to your photography and explore some thought-provoking questions while you're at it.
Do you believe that there's so much more going on than what you can physically see with your eye?
It's time to sit back, enjoy your favourite herbal tea, and let this magical, mythical photography adventure begin.
Caves can be really interesting places to come.
Oh, and if you've been looking forward to hearing more about the book I've been writing, there's some news on that later in the video too.
I'm about to be an author!
Getting to caves like this can be an adventure in itself, often requiring much careful planning and consideration. But when you arrive safely in these womb-like caverns and begin to take in your new environment, the quest is well worth it. Before sharing the mythical creatures that reside here, let's first share the benefits of coming to new environments and how caves specifically can be magical places to be.
When we come into a different environment like this, and somewhere like a cave, which is not somewhere that many people will come often, you're transported into a completely different world. And when you come into a cave specifically, I found that we naturally go silent. We speak a lot more quietly. We tend to stand in this stillness, and we begin to look around us and take in the magnitude of somewhere like this and how the noises from outside come in and echo through the cave. So when we're looking for places to be still, to contemplate, to find some peace and tranquility, caves can be really interesting places to come, because just the natural acoustics of somewhere like this, it really enables you to just connect with that stillness and that calm. It's almost like nature just naturally puts you into that state. And then you begin to see these beautiful things. You begin to look around and you see the texture of the cave, how the light is interacting with each tiny little line and crevice. And you almost experience like you would with a night sky when you look up at the stars and you feel so mesmerised by them. When you're in a cave and you look up at what's above you, it's just like, it's mesmerising. This, I feel, is one of the reasons upon many that getting out into natural environments is so important, because they naturally put us into these beautiful states of being. If we spend a lot of our lives stuck indoors, it's easy to see how we can become very disconnected from ourselves. And when we come into environments in nature and really connect with them and just allow ourselves to be in them, you don't need to do anything, you just need to be in them. You naturally find this peace, this awe. Your system begins to reset. And when you get into that state, creating photographs becomes a lot more easier to do.
And also, when you come into places like this, you increase your chances of coming into contact with things that spark your imagination, such as the many mythical creatures, faces, and animals that my dad and I encountered on this morning adventure.
There's a ferret over here.
Animals featured most frequently, as you'll discover as the video unfolds.
There's a face up here, which expression changes constantly as the light moves round. 1 minute it looks angry, the next it's frustrated, and then to me it looks a little bit like a face in the clouds.
Being a photographer, a big interest is of course light. Seeing a face like this and how the light changed its expression was a great reminder of how we too are affected by the weather and light that surrounds us.
Here I'm seeing like a medieval knight. We've got the metal helmet with the metal bit that came over their nose and the slit here where their eyes would have been.
Seeing a character like this in a cave, somewhere that our ancestors may have used as shelter, refuge, or to ritual, was a great connection to times gone by, and how those who came before us lived and fought for survival. But this was just the beginning. The next discovery was mesmerising.
Where we've got the cliff face here, we've got some of the sandstone is beginning to rub off and erode. And then this black stuff has been growing on it. And within this small area here, we've got a number of faces and creatures, including a squirrel.
The squirrel is so clear. How incredible that the cave has created this visual art completely naturally.
Locations like this are just mind-blowing. You could spend hours here.
You certainly could. Even this small section of the cave here could result in hours of exploration. After all, it wasn't only the squirrel that was depicted here, but a woman with a long ponytail and a devil-like creature.
As I'm walking around this cave and seeing and photographing all of these creatures and faces, it got me thinking, do you see things like this when you're out with your camera? And diving a little bit more deeply into this, do you believe that there's so much more going on around you in terms of creatures and beings that are supporting you and guiding you in your journey? Let me know in the comments below and let's see if we can start a really interesting discussion around this topic.
The creatures you've seen so far was only the beginning. Up next came another animal.
There's a goat or ram type creature up here.
This one really caught my attention. The detail of the nose, eye and horns was quite extraordinary to see. And then came a warrior riding to battle on a horse. The closer I looked at this one, the more I began to see, including an elaborate headscarf.
Up here, we've got some other sort of bird, either like a hummingbird or maybe even a penguin, but without wings. I'm seeing two interesting things here. There's potentially two creatures and faces within this. At the top, we've got what looks like either a bear or some sort of beaked creature like a duck. And then down here, I'm seeing like a man's face. And then the bit that would be the bear's nose or the duck's beak is at the tip of like a hat or a helmet.
I found this to be an interesting visual representation of the relationship between man and animal. And there's still more to come. But first, let's share some exciting news about the book.
I've got an exciting announcement. I've now finished writing my first book, From Shooting to Creating, How Changing Your Language Can Transform Your Photography. I am so excited to share this with the world. It's been a dream of mine for so many years now to be a published author, and it's going to be happening in the next week or two. And I just can't wait. I'm so excited. The book is currently with printers, and as soon as I receive my first printed proof copy, I'll be putting it up for pre-sale. So that should be happening in the next week or two. So if you'd like to be one of the first people to get your hands on a copy of this book, I'll be announcing it, of course, on here. But if you want to ensure that you don't miss that announcement, you can head over to photographicconnections.com/newsletter to get a newsletter sent straight to your email inbox when it's ready to pre-order. All pre-orders will be personally sent out by me and signed as well. And after that, I'll be hooking it up to some third-party company where it'll be printed on demand. So the pre-sale is potentially your only opportunity to get a signed copy and for it to be personally shipped out by me. It's so exciting. This book offers an alternative approach to transforming your photography, and it explores the commonly used words in photography: shoot, capture, take and snap, as well as the words make and create. And it enables you to explore the true meaning of these words, as well as how they may affect your photographic process. And in doing so, you can decide which words and identity you most want to take on when you're out doing photography. And rather than me just telling you about this and writing about it, I've created a number of exercises in this book, from reflections, embodiment exercises, visualizations, and practical photography exercises, so you can explore each word and come up with your own conclusion. I think the best thing about this approach is that changing the words you use is completely free. which means it's accessible to everybody, and it doesn't matter whether you use a high-end camera or whether you photograph with your phone. Anybody can adopt these principles into their photographic practice. And I've seen transformative results by using the word create instead of shoot, capture, take and snap. And I'm excited to share this concept with you all so that you too can begin to explore this for yourself and see the effect it can have on your own photography. So like I say, pre-sale will be beginning very soon. I'll be announcing it on here, but if you don't want to miss the pre-sale, sign up to my email newsletter so you can get your signed copy when the time comes. And I'm so excited. I'm about to be an author.
Very exciting times indeed. But for now, let's get back to the cave and some further interesting discoveries.
I'm not quite sure what this is, but it's definitely some sort of creature, and it looks pretty cool. And then to this side of me here, it's almost like a robot or sort of machined type face.
This fascinated me. Not only had the cave depicted ancient creatures from our past, but it was also showcasing potential creatures from the future. One thing I'd seen a few times during my exploration was dragons, including this one here. But right towards the end, a whole cluster of them appeared, and it was quite simply incredible to see.
And how cool is this? When you zoom out and take in sections of this cave on a much bigger scale, you begin to see numerous creatures. And if you look here on this wall in front of me, you can see a number of either dragons or snakes or some sort of reptilian creatures, almost like coming towards me. It's fascinating.
I began by photographing these dragons on their own, before standing underneath them and photographing myself with their beautiful character and energy surrounding me.
Going out into nature with our cameras offers us so many opportunities, and now that we've reached the end of this video, I'd like to encourage you to head out this week and see what magical and imaginative creatures you can find to photograph. You can do this anywhere in nature, but places with rocks are particularly good. And every time you see a creature, photograph it and share those photographs with those nearest to you and see if you can spark their imagination. So next time they're out in nature, they too can see the magical creatures and beings that surround them. Have fun. Oh, hello. The sea sounds like it's just shifting. Why are we suddenly getting sea noises? Here's another interesting find. This one up here. Spiders. Somebody left 3 lint chocolates in my bird table. I've no idea who it was. Yeah, I got home the other day and there was 3 lint chocolate balls on my bird table. Very bizarre, but anyway.